Okay, so here's what I would recommend. Set up your carts so that the arrows on each cart point in the same directions. That way, each cart's positive direction will be the same, which will make the data collection much easier. And align the carts on your track so that the arrows are pointing to the right as you're collecting data. So I'm going to line mine up on the track so that they're both pointing to the right from your perspective. They're pointing to the left from my perspective, of course, but I can adjust. And then the other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that when you put your Velcro on, you put the Velcro tabs in such a way that you don't have to turn the cart around to make them stick together. So right now I have mine set up so that if I bounce them off each other in an elastic collision, they can both be pointing this way. And if I lock down the plunger and make them stick together in an inelastic collision, I don't have to turn them around. So this way is positive, and that's going to be really handy. The next thing that you want to do is, the other thing is pick 2 different colored carts, because what you'll see is when you do the data collection in graphical analysis, it labels one of them with a Y and one of them with a G. Y means this yellow cart, which to me is green-yellow, and G means green, which to me is blue-green. I didn't make up the colors or the names, but this one is yellow, this one is green, and they'll be identified by a Y and a G in the name, which makes it a lot easier to see. So, I'm going to connect to both of these. One is, they're off now. One of them is 7M3. See, it's got a Y. That's my yellow one. And one of them is a, hang on, this is a new interface, so I have to make sure that I do this right. One of them is a G. All right. Okay, and then I don't need to adjust anything on the sensor channels. Starting Thursday, you will need to click on this down arrow and make sure that force is selected. But for now, all we need is position, so I'm going to click done. And then when it comes to these graphs, we only need one. And the one that we need, we don't care about velocity. You'll see actually, we'll use velocity. Velocity will be easier to use. You could use either position or velocity, but we'll just use velocity. And so I'm going to change my graphs to just be one graph, and then I'm going to change the y-axis so that it is velocity y, that's my yellow cart velocity, and velocity g, that's my green cart velocity. One of the things that's really helpful is to get all this set up before you've collected any data. If you get it set up like this before you hit collect ever, then all you have to do is just hit collect and everything will seem intuitive. If you collect data and then want to make some changes to the graphs, what you'll find is that it starts showing you this run 1, run 2, run 3, run 4. You've seen that, right, some of you? And the problem is you don't know which run is which. And what you want is the next run, not the last one. And it's not super clear. So getting it set up like this before you've collected data is really useful. And then when you collect data, what you'll see is that it's going to kind of have a look to it. And the look is going to be, so this, I don't know if you saw, but my green cart kind of went askew. And so it didn't quite look right afterwards, but you will still be able to interpret this. And basically, what I call a collision signature. In science, signature is data that tells you about an event. And what you'll need to be able to do is read these graphs in order to be able to determine where the collision occurs, that you can find the velocities that we need to find. So here's the signal. There's nothing happening here. Neither cart is moving. Here, we have my yellow cart, and it's moving in the negative direction, and then it slows down, and then it starts moving in the positive direction. That's me. Moving in the negative direction, slows down, and then it starts moving in the positive direction until I let go, and it moves at a roughly constant velocity. My green cart moved in a positive direction, and then it slowed down, and then started moving in the negative direction, and that was all me. And then when I let go of it, it started moving at a roughly constant velocity. By the way, I can tell my track is tilted here. My track is tilted in such a way that my yellow cart didn't slow down. So it must be tilted a little bit like this. My yellow cart didn't slow down. My green cart slowed down more than it probably would have on a level track. If you get your track perfectly level, and I'll try to get this a little bit more level so you can see this. If you get the track perfectly level, then what you'll see is the carts will both always slow down, which means their velocity lines will always slope towards zero. So this is constant velocity, this is constant velocity. Right here is our collision signature, a rapid change in velocity with both carts that comes right after the constant velocity. And then they stick together and they're moving at the same velocity afterward. So let me show you again. I've adjusted the angle of the track, and this time we'll do an elastic collision, so you'll get to see that. Okay, boom. Okay, same deal. This is me moving the cart, accelerating them in their respective directions. Now you can see the track is more level. My yellow cart is moving in the positive direction, but slowing down a little bit. My green cart is moving in the negative direction and slowing down a little bit. Right here is the collision. This is the signature. You go from constant velocity, big change in velocity, back to constant velocity. The green cart does the same thing. Relatively constant velocity, big change, relatively constant again. This is the collision. This is the yellow cart speed before. This is the green cart speed before. This is the yellow cart speed after. And this is the green cart speed after. That is what you need to be able to recognize. And this is how we're going to collect data. Over and over and over. You're going to be executing collisions between carts where you are collecting data, and you need to be able to look at it and determine immediately, okay, I want to know how fast my yellow cart was going and in what direction, how fast my green cart was going in what direction before the collision. And then I want to know how fast my yellow cart was moving after the collision and in what direction, and how fast my green cart was moving after the collision and in what direction, right? So over and over and over again, you're going to need to recognize that collision signature. Here's how you find the data after you've done that. You can just highlight this section of time right before the collision and then choose View Statistics. I want to highlight right before the collision because that's the only thing that matters. Their speeds right before they hit each other determine their momentum. The direction determines the direction of the momentum. It doesn't really matter how fast they were going back here because they didn't collide back here. They collided when they were right next to each other. And this is how fast the green cart was going. The green cart was moving at about, you can't read this, but this says mean negative 0.464 meters per second, about 0.45 meters per second in the negative direction. My yellow cart had a mean of about 0.34. That's about 0.34 meters per second in the positive direction. That's their speed right before the collision. And then I can highlight this amount of time right after the collision and find the statistics there. And it'll tell me that after the collision, my yellow cart was moving in the negative direction, real slow, 0.02 meters per second. It's barely moving at all. And those of you who could see saw that happen. It was hardly moving at all. The green cart was moving at 0.53 meters per second in the positive direction, this way. So remember last week when I mentioned there's no such thing as the law of conservation of velocity. Remember that Veritasium video where they're trying to use wind to make that vehicle go faster than the wind? Look at what happened here. We had one cart that was moving at 0.34, another cart that was moving at 0.46 meters per second. They hit each other, and this one is going faster than either one of them was before. That is evidence right there that there is no conservation of velocity. It's possible for two things moving slowly to move more quickly after they've bumped into each other. Why? Because momentum is conserved. What happened here is that I put this 500-gram weight on my yellow cart. So even though it wasn't moving super fast, it had a lot of momentum. It transferred almost all of that momentum to the green cart. So then the green cart was moving pretty fast after the collision. And we'll see that over and over and over again. If I do a collision that looks more like the ones that you're going to do in the lab, then one of my carts is motionless. So what we'll see is something that looks like this. Same deal as before. Here's my collision signature right here. Constant velocity of 0. Changes for both carts, and now we have two constant velocities after. Again, if I want to know what those are, I highlight and choose View Statistics. For my, I think I can move this, yeah. For my yellow cart, it was moving at about 0.37 meters per second. My green cart was motionless. After the collision, my yellow cart was moving at about 0.2 meters per second, so it slowed down, but not that much. The green cart was moving at about 0.391, so it sped up a considerable amount. That technique is what you'll be working on today. The data that you collect is going to be pretty straightforward. It's just like 4 collisions, 2 elastic, 2 inelastic, some math, some questions to think about, but mostly the skill is what I just showed you. Collecting data, using these SuperCarts and a computer, being able to do it reliably and being able to interpret the results from a graph like this without getting your mind twisted in knots, okay? That